Have you recently been to a NAMM convention in which you did not win swag at the UA booth? Have you received emotional damage by not hearing your name called for shirts, hats, or socks? Then you need to visit our website now and get what you deserve. I'm Henry. And I'm Hank. And we are Henry and Hank, UA Swag Attorneys. Did you know swag stands for stuff we all get? I did not, and now Henry's suing me for half of the company. Legally, Universal Audio is required to sell swag on their Reverb store to anyone. And now they are. Shirts? Get yours on the Reverb store. Hats? Get yours on the Reverb store. Socks? I haven't won any sock-related litigation yet, but you can still get yours on the Reverb store. Are we still doing an injury attorney type commercial? Because it sounds like the problem's solved. It sure is. You can get your official UA swag on the Reverb store now.
Henry and Hank, UA Swag Attorneys. Go to the Reverb store and get your swag on.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy New Year. Welcome back for another UA live stream. We had a really big one yesterday. I was back in the studio over at headquarters, and but today we're back at home because we're here to do some Q&A, some office hours. It was really fun launching these pedals yesterday and being able to feature a bunch of artists. And guess what? We're going to continue that momentum today. I'm going to bring back James and Tor. We're going to address a whole bunch of questions that we saw in yesterday's chat and in the comments on the videos and across the internet. So we're going to hit all of your guys' biggest questions about the pedals. And then about an hour into the show, we're going to switch gears and we're going to jump into Luna and show you guys some of the features that just released here in the new year, as well as a whole bunch of the features that we've got planned for 2021. So if you're a Luna fan, you definitely don't want to miss out on this upcoming preview. With that said, if you guys are watching this and you are somehow, if you're not on uaudio.com/live, you're missing out your last chance to enter the giveaway to win a commemorative set of all three pedals and t-shirts and a power supply. It's this really cool commemorative box that we put together. There's gonna be 3 lucky winners that get those, and you've got, I think it's less than 2 hours left to enter. So if you haven't done that already, make sure you go over there and do that. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump back in with James and Tor. Guys, how you doing today?
Hey, good. Hey.
Congratulations on an epic launch yesterday. That was man, it was so much fun. It was a bit of a whirlwind. Like, we covered so much ground. We talked about so many different features around the pedals that, you know, the number one thing I was seeing and heard feedback from people is that, man, they want to hear the pedals more. So I'm going to do our best with as little talking as possible. I'm going to let you guys I'm just going to let you guys go free. You guys know these pedals the best. Do you mind let's just take some time here and listen to the pedals and have you guys kind of show us some of your favorite settings and effects.
All right.
Sure. Yeah, we can.
James, do you want to start? One of the things we got some requests for yesterday. I don't know why, really, but for more of the metal stuff that I sort of done, which is why the horribly
it's those pointy shaped
guitars here. So my little segment of playing today will be pretty all full out distortion stuff. So I think we should start with James. Then
we need a slow build up. Yeah, it's just
so then we can scare people away a little later.
Yeah. And Tor, do you mind? Can you just bring your mic a little bit closer? So I want to bring you up in level a little bit next to me and James. Sick. Well, yeah, that's perfect. Killer. Well, James, man, let's let you take it away and just maybe talk us through as quickly as you can what effect you've got set up, how you got set up, and then let's hear some music.
All right, and I thought it might be fun to also pair some stuff together and let you hear a few things in a sort of a fully realized sound. So just in case everyone didn't see yesterday, these are running in front of 2 clean amps.
Okay.
And then these are in mono, running in front of the Plexi Marshall back there. So
awesome.
These will actually get distorted in front of the amp. So let's just start with the amp just to have some. So that's the amp as just some spring reverb on it.
This is the James custom, right? All 10?
All 10. A little bit of... I actually pulled the volume. 7 is a really good sweet spot sometimes. And then I'm going to use either a fuzz or this boost to smash everything in front of the amp too.
Awesome.
So just a little spring. And then what I want to also show is This is actually what we in our analog preamp coloration mode. Because I think it's meant to make it clear. You know, when you get the pedals, they have this beautiful analog dry side. But there is this mode you can try later on to switch it to, which is full on preamp coloration of each unit you pull up. So I can even tell when I'm in this sort of true bypass mode. The minute I turn this on, my dry sound gets this nice warm mid-range and the high end smoother. And then I'm gonna just shut up because it's more play and less talking. So I'll just let you hear the difference real quick, and then we'll build a sound. We'll build a sound.
Killer.
So just amp straight. So right there, I got more girth. There's a smoother top end for without it. So that's the magic of the Echoplex Pre. So now we can actually dial in some echo.
James,
Nice.
man, you just get this hazy, fuzzy kind of atmosphere around it. I love it.
Yeah, it's just there's things that those Echoplexes do when they start to get this feedback, and they get in that they start distorting the tape head, and it goes back to the tape again and again, and honestly, if I've probably purchased every single product that even said it might do a tape sound.
Yeah,
you know, and I know for me, it's like, I'm just geeked that, like, this actually sounds like 2 or 3 of the different units that I really love of these EP3 eras. And to be able to do that, and just, you know, I pulled one of my old ones again out last night. I'm like, man, I had to actually clean the heads, change the tape, and it's still kind of wigged out on me. So I actually was pretty glad to get back to the pedal this morning. Go, oh, there it is. And it's not going to break on me.
Well,
and to have that. Yeah.
Oh, I see a good question here from Tim's he's asking for stereo, do I need 2 of each pedal? And absolutely not. That's the great thing about these pedals, man, is the stereo operation of them. Do you mind, James, can you switch over to your stereo rig?
Yeah.
And let's kind of show people what a stereo sound you can cook up with these.
Absolutely. So let's do a little bit of a cleaner sound. I'm going to use Echoplexes again, but we'll use that subdivision. And here are 2 Echoplexes, one left and one right, and they'll sort of they'll randomly flutter. That little cloud. Add some hall. What you may notice is I actually hit a tape splice, and it was actually starting to drop out on the tape machine.
Well, it's hard to get a great understanding of just like the detail and the level that you guys put into the models of these. But that was one of the things that blew my mind. Was like, yeah, the tape you have tape splices, and the A, B, and C programs actually take you between 3 different basically ages of tape. Which again,
we'll make it worse. It was 3 different tapes that I had cataloged against also 3 different machines that all had different qualities. So so funny, the A machine is actually a new old stock unit that I've had in a closet that I bought from a guy who never took it out of his closet since '74.
That's it's absolutely it's so cool to hear, like, that this is how they sounded right out of the box back when they were first released, as well as one that's been like definitely dropped down some stairs.
Oh dude, yeah, that's it, because you hear the you can immediately hear it. Like the A one is the most beautifully, like, pristine, well cared for machine. And when you get to the C one, it's just got bruises, man.
So cool.
But it's warmer. The tape is worn. The heads are worn actually as well. Like the heads are just shot. But that's, I hate to say what a lot of us think of as tape, because those machines are just old and beat up. But again, that one. There it is.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm sure some folks at home are maybe thinking, "Oh, is that a Zoom air?" Like, no, that's I mean, that's the air that's what the tape.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. Yeah.
That's exactly what they do. That the tape pisses there. The head wearing between all the different units. It's so honestly, this pedal could have gone out as just 3 golden reference, EP tape delays in one single thing. So I'm stoked. I want to buy 3 of them, and I work here.
Nice. Well, let's keep the examples rolling. Tor, do you mind taking over? Let's hear what these things can do with a little heavier mindset.
Yeah, so what I've basically done is that I've set up 3 different sounds, which is what I typically use in a metal band scenario. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to that, and that's sort of like a rhythm sound, a lead sound, and then sort of like an octave kind of melodic thing that is big and washy. So let's start with the rhythm sound, and we touched upon this yesterday actually with the flanger. That's really great for actually doubling rhythm tracks. So any of you guys who didn't follow that yesterday, Dimebag Darrell and a lot of other cool metal guys use some sort of artificial doubling to fatten up their rhythm sound in a live format. So here's my dry sound, and it's gonna hum and buzz a little bit because I don't have a noise gate on. And by the way, what I'm doing here, I'll just switch over to the pedals. I am running my guitar into a little tube screener you can't see, and then into a tiny little PV 5150 into aux, and then from aux into these 3 pedals, and then into my Apollo. So it's a pretty simple setup, but they're all post gain. So here we go. Everything's off. So it's a pretty aggressive sound to begin with, but let's just kick in the flanger and the doubling. That also gives you a stereo kind of perspective.
Yeah.
So that's the metal stuff, and I would leave that on all the time. I might even just have that setting, for all my 3 different sounds, because it just sounds better.
Yeah.
But there are 2 sounds on Astra, and I thought that one other cool thing that I would typically do is then when you have when you have all your modulation effects in the loop of the amp, there are certain qualities that you can bring out that you can't bring out when you have them in front of the amp. And obviously, a lot of us know the classic, orange phaser sound from Eddie and those guys, where it sits in front of the amp, and that's a certain sound. But the cool thing about it, having it in the loop, is that it totally sort of overtakes the sound of the guitar, and you can use it as a really cool filter to sort of kick in if you play a riff or something like that you want to just almost like playing through a megaphone, and then when you kick that effect off, then it becomes much wider and bigger. So here's the difference again. I'll turn this off. It's crazy with that. It's crazy with that doubling thing. You just want that on. As soon as I turn it off, I'm just missing it.
I miss it immediately. Yeah. That's rad.
But that phaser trick is actually pretty cool. And if I were to start a song with like a killer riff, I would often put that phaser thing on, and then when the whole band comes in, you just kick it off, and it suddenly everything just becomes bigger and wider.
Nice. Well, so James, so I got feedback here from the chat that I accidentally left my audio coming out of Zoom down in mono, so they missed the stereo goodness. But I also got some text from Eric where he wanted to challenge you personally to do 3 sounds in a row without talking.
Okay. All right, you got it.
So can we get? I want to show off the stereo goodness of it and take people to 3 different places as fast as possible.
All right, let's go to the amp, and I'm going to just dial stuff and go for it.
Awesome.
And I'll bounce back and forth, amp or stereo, and hopefully it all comes through.
Yep. Can you share your pedal cam for me too?
You got it. You got it. Should I spin plates? I was thinking about doing that.
Yeah.
All right.
Get weird, man.
All right. And so.
So now we're clean and in stereo. There it is. That might be considered one big sound. That might be a technicality. So I think I might own $5 on that. I might have lost that with that. You know? Man, but dude, best comment I saw here coming through on the chat was like, "I'm sober and these tones got me high." Like,
oh, dude, oh man, it's doesn't a good concert do that? If you're gonna see Pink Floyd or if you're gonna be the Dead, just close your eyes and make music. And I think. Honestly, for me, I feel the same way. As you start forgetting it, but you just turn knobs and kind of get lost in the sound. And I think all of us during development were having those same things of just letting something run away and turn a knob and having that thing that I'm not looking at a menu on something. Or honestly, I'm not looking at a computer. I'm playing a guitar and moving a knob. And it's so cool to just get back into that zone.
Absolutely.
You know?
So guys, before I bring on our first guest, we've got a whole bunch of fresh faces joining us here for the stream today. I wanted to, we kind of reading the comments from yesterday, reading some of the stuff that's going out online. I wanted to make sure we're hitting all the points that people are most curious about. And I think number one among all those, people are wondering. One thing it feels like it's missing for some folks is like MIDI control, being able to have MIDI sync or MIDI presets. And I know this was kind of an intentional thing, right? Like, what can you mind walking people through the thought process here?
Yeah, sure. And I can totally understand from the individual customer's perspective that they might feel that they're missing a specific feature that could be MIDI or expression pedal inputs or something like that. But as pedal designers, it's always a really it's a tough decision whether to add something, and it's definitely not that we suddenly realized that there's this thing called MIDI.
Yeah,
we knew, and we thought long and hard about whether to add it or not. And I think we touched upon this yesterday, but the reason why we didn't do that, because the answer is no, there isn't MIDI on these pedals, is that we really wanted to keep them simple and easy to use. And every time you add a feature, you also chip away a little bit at that sort of immediate, just sort of instant gratification, instant access to all the good sounds that are in these pedals. And obviously at the end of the day, the key is getting these amazing sounds. So with MIDI, we essentially decided that it, although again I can totally understand that why some people would like that it was sort of cluttering up the pedal in terms of having too much functionality. We would have to have maybe a display to show things. We'd have to have, ways to connect and choose MIDI channels. All this stuff that just makes the pedal more inaccessible, honestly. So that's the reason why. Got it. Yeah, kind of makes sense, and it's same thought process right behind like why doesn't it have a screen or a ton of presets. Like it's that simplicity, the immediacy that you guys were really going for, which you look at our favorite pedals from the past, right? Like that's all the favorite ones that we have on our pedal board. Tube Screamer, like that only has one setting, a regular Memory Man or a tape delay. Like you get one setting and that's it. And in terms of a tape delay, it may not even have a bypass, right?
Oh,
yeah. It's totally true. And, the thing is, especially when you do things that are digital, the option is for everything. We could literally do everything. And, the tough decisions are really to sort of keep it simple and sort of strike that balance between, between simplicity and just making it dumb. And we definitely don't want to make these pedals dumb in any way. We just want to make sure that we hit that perfect balance between making them simple and fun to use, but also sort of being able to give the customers what they want. And that unfortunately means that there's also going to be a few people who are disappointed about us deciding not to add a specific feature. Yeah. Well, I know someone who isn't disappointed with these pedals. Tim, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you guys doing? It's already really fun. The green room back there was fun talking to everybody. I almost forgot that we were going to actually have to do this.
wait. Do we have M&Ms and are there no brown ones back there? Or is it rock and roll approved? Yeah.
It's just Zoom, all it is.
Well, Tim, I've got a really cool clip I want to play from you here in a second. Sweet. But before I get to it, you got these pedals. I think we got you a set, early set, like last week, and just wanted to get your first impressions. How'd you feel about opening these up and putting them in?
I opened the box and I thought, oh, more boxes with knobs.
Oh, right. Damn it.
But here's the thing. You guys have reached a level with these things that I've never experienced before. As far as the kind of, I was telling the other guys that the shadow and ghost and artifact things that happen with these, and I got some sounds, this video that you're going to play, I wasn't planning to make that video last night, but I was working on something, and the pedals are plugged in now, and of course they're on all the time.
Thank you.
And I got this sound just by turning knobs, and I thought, I've got to make a quick film of this because I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And it really is the spill and the shadows and the ghosts and the artifacts and the little things that just trail out. And of course, you have to make space for them in whatever music you're doing, but that's pretty easy to do. Mm-hmm. And so it is a new level. It's the sound quality is crazy, and the way you've emulated these old iconic things. At first, you go, yeah, that sounds pretty good. But when you start using them and you start to hear this stuff that happens, it really is a new level.
Man. Well, Tim, let me share my screen here, and I want to share with folks your what you shared with us. Let's see. I think everybody should be able to hear this, including you guys here on Zoom with me. Oh, I lost your faces though.
All right.
There we go. Now you guys can ride shotgun.
Okay, so I had a sound set up for the bridge that's not present anymore. I tore it down to make a new sound, but it's really cool. I could get it again, no problem. It's this. Okay, that carries through the bridge, but then I found this. Check it out. And all I'm doing is going. It's amazing. Okay, so let me unsolo it and show you how this works in the song. the pedals are creating the sound.
The
Why
face
would I
says it
ever
all.
stop making sounds like this?
Tim. Oh, we gotta save that one for later. Tim,
Yeah, Tim.
dude, hats off. I know some people in chat were noticing it's tilted to the right. That's because that's raw. That's straight off your phone, so it's coming from the speakers over on to the right off screen.
Yeah, it was literally me just going, I got to film this, and I threw it over here and just got something.
Yeah.
All it was.
Dude, it's you're right. Like I said this a little bit yesterday on stream too, but like, man, every time I plug into these pedals, I try to like test something, and then like 2 seconds later, I've got a riff, I've got an idea, and I just like, you just want to start creating with them, right?
It's true. And the reverb, I can, even when I'm just going dry, I like leaving the reverb pedal on because it creates kind of a I don't know what it is, kind of a big pillow, or it's like putting your foot down in a puddle and making a big splash. It's just like, and you don't exactly hear it necessarily, but it's one of that classic thing where you turn it off and you go, oh, I need it back.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Tim, you've got James and Tori here, the masterminds behind the pedals. Now you've had some time with them. Were there any questions or any things that or feedback, for these guys that you'd love to know more about?
I think what I gravitate towards on the Starlight is the analog DMM, and that's the memory man. I can say that, right? Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
You can say that, yes.
Okay. And of course, I had a memory man on my board forever, and all the things you talk about when you talk about how you modeled it are really true. That it was always distorting, and you lived with that and you enjoyed it or whatever. And like Butch Walker talked about yesterday, I watched for 2 hours yesterday. You actually would use it to be, and this is how I use delays. I use delays in a manner that hopefully you don't hear them all the time. I mean, what you just heard was an exception, but when I used my memory man or any delay, the idea for me is that you never hear the trail. All you hear is something that makes the guitar float and get wider. So if I'm playing an arpeggio, you don't exactly hear a delay, but you hear a spaciousness created by the delay, and it's always been a darkened delay with modulation. So you go, what flavor of that is the best? And certainly the memory man with the distorted preamp always worked great. He just filled out and fattened up whatever guitar part you were playing. So this does that, and that's when I say you guys you guys and James. I want you to sign these pedals, James.
No, devalue them. No. Can you sign them and I'll take those? You sign them for me.
The thing is that you've actually, and it takes, the great thing is it takes a few days to kind of realize how good these sounds are. You kind of go, oh, that really is it. Oh, the guitar really is distorting in a musical way. Yep. Oh, this really is disappearing behind the tone in a great way. Oh, the guitar actually sounds super healthy through this. So you start to wake up to the actual quality of what you put into these. And the fact that it's so great that they only do a few great things. I mean, as a guitar player, I was saying the other day, when you have 99 sounds and 99 presets and 99 things, you kind of, sometimes you can't work with that much, but you've chosen the things we love the most, and they're easy to they're easy to open up right away and use. So we go to the golden reverberator. I'm still working that one out. I mean, I remember the 224 days, and that's pretty amazing. I mean, I have to say that the golden does remind me of some of the chambers in places like Sunset Sound and Capitol. You can hear what they were going for when they built those chambers? And are we talking the 50s basically?
Yeah, the original Capitol chambers were like late 50s, early 60s when they put them down below the parking lot.
And then the Astra, the thing I like about it really first is you can make it louder with that knob. That was really smart.
Mm-hmm.
I like to create sort of a vibrato sound, so just a little bit of this going on. I'll do that right now more than chorusing. The trims are really nice. My favorite trim is the one that's soft.
Yeah.
And kind of, I always, if I'm using a tremolo, I generally create a trem sound that is sort of a triplet, slow and kind of soft.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of my go-to trim, and this does that really, really well. I also like the fact that you want to store what you have because you this is great. You just go, beep, and you hit that switch and it's stored. And then you have that world forever, and then you have whatever you want to do next. So that's great. I also like the fact that you said, haven't tried it because they're up here, but the actual, your preset changes when you lift your foot off the switch. That's really smart. So you're playing the last piece of whatever part you're playing, you put your foot down on the switch, keep playing, lift your foot off, changes. It's really great. And also the fact that the old, I think you mentioned on the delay, I don't know if it's that way with all of them, the old patch spills.
Yep.
Because you have two engines in each thing. Now, think about that. If you're playing live, the old patch spills over as the new patch starts. I mean, that's so musical.
So it's just one of those things, like you get spoiled by it really fast, don't you? You're like, like this is how I've always wanted it to be. I wanted to be able to kick it off and have it just shimmer out or go between two sounds, and again, just have it play off as it's supposed to. That's awesome.
I'm enjoying them.
That's awesome. Well, Tim,
I just want to start throwing that. Yeah, Tim, just what you just did was what I hope people would find is, like you said, you created a part that's so guitar, but also such a part of the song that, like, I heard these notes and these little clouds of notes coming in under that song. When I heard it with the drum pattern, it's just, man, just brilliant. So, man, I'm
Well, when it happened, the Starlight is going into the Golden, and the Astra was not on for that. I did an Instagram this morning where I do turn on the Astra at the end, and it adds some extra modulation. But that was the Starlight into the Golden. And the thing, it was like there was a trumpet following me. It was almost the timbre of the sound this created sounded like a trumpet was echoing, a trumpet and reverb or something. It was like, wow.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, Tim, man, it's thank you so much for joining us today, and really cool to see you. Thanks for checking out these pedals and coming on and having such awesome things to say about them. I really appreciate it, and I can't stress you enough how excited I am to see what you do on your channel with these pedals here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, they're probably going to be on all the time.
Thank you, Tim.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, so
Thanks.
we got Tim, and now we got bringing on our next guest. We're gonna roll right through these guys because, man, it's fun hanging out with them. We got next up is Tyler Bryant from Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Good friend of ours. He's actually he came on to an early Office Hours episode, and we got to chat about Luna back in the day, and boom, there he is. What's up, Tyler?
What's up, y'all?
Good morning. All right.
Hey, Tyler.
Dude, how you doing today?
Tyler.
I'm wonderful. How are y'all?
Oh man, we're having fun over here. We're nice little whirlwind of a launch yesterday, and then it's been so amazing to see the reaction and the feedback from the world of what everyone's thinking about the pedals. And wanted to ask you the same, man. You've had them for a little while to check out. How you feeling about them?
I'm feeling great. I have this little charcuterie tray of tone, if you will. You know what? I've been having a good time with them. I'm very grateful that I've actually been able to get my hands on them, because I can't tell you how many times I've been working in the studio and put a UA plug in, like a verb or a delay or something on a track and said, when are these guys going to make a pedal? And then you guys just like dropped all of these at once. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if you don't mind, here before I let you loose with Tor and James, I want to play a little clip because you've been, man, like we sent you these pedals, and then immediately, like the day your package arrived, we started getting video clips back from you of you and the band in the studio playing with them and putting them straight to work.
Yeah, let me tell you what happens. Is it's like, and I know this is not just me trying to justify my gear obsession.
Mm-hmm.
New sounds they give you inspiration for new songs. So the first thing I plugged in was the Astra because I honestly thought it was going to be the one I liked the least because I don't really mess with modulation much ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like,
yeah.
And I don't know, I just kind of turn knobs until something sounds interesting. And I got this really like almost this univibe on steroids type of sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it inspired a riff. And next thing you know, we had a song. And so, yeah, I sent you guys a clip from the solo of that song.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, let me share my screen here so we can all watch this together. So good. Wow, Tyler, you're a madman. Every time I see you solo, you take it here, you take it there, and then like it's always so much fun to watch. But you're right, like modulation on that like might not be necessarily your first go-to, but the movement and the kind of the extra just that sauce that it adds and the shape to the sound is so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's it just kind of fits in the track in a little bit of a different spot,
Mm-hmm.
which the main rhythm track that I did on that was using the Astra as well, but it was on more of the like a trim setting.
Yeah.
But like a slow, deep trim to where you kind of get sucked in and out of the sound, which I love that. It's a sound that I haven't ever messed with before. So yeah, it's been really inspiring to just kind of find some new sonic landscape to run around in.
That's awesome. Well, man, I saw a great comment here in the chat that came up. UA bringing these pedals to fruition. It's like that person who shows up to the party with all the free booze. Kudos, UA. I love it. Well, Tyler, this is I wanted to open up the floor to you, man. If you had any questions or feedback for James or Tor that, if you wanted to dive a little deeper and on behalf of all the users out in the world, pick their brains about something.
Yeah, I've had a couple of conversations with these guys, and I just think they're amazing. I've been playing around with one question I have is I've been playing around with the order of what's going into what, because I'm kind of old school in the way of like I don't use effects loops. I just put my pedals before my amp, and I like to drive my amp that way. So I didn't know if you guys had any sort of way that you had been running them, because I've been experimenting with changing it.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, there's no right way to do that stuff. I think whatever sounds good is cool. Personally, I'm pretty old school in the sense that I like modulation, then delay, and then reverb. But one of the cool things is that if you actually switch the order, which I know is what James does, and put the modulation after the delay, then you add the modulation to the delay repeats as well, which gives you a totally different sound. And the same thing goes
cool.
if you swap the reverb and the delay around. Typically what happens is you play into the delay first, and then you add the reverb to that. And then you have reverb on the repeats, but if you swap them around, then you have the reverb first, and then the delay repeats will actually have, they'll repeat the reverb as well to get you like this totally crazy wash that you can't get the other way around.
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
like more of like a classic kind of noise rock, indie rock, shoegazer sort of trick, where you just get this wall of reverb.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think for what Tyler was saying, like, if it's a Marshall, I think I do more what you're probably doing now, which is modulation first, then some delay, then some reverb. But if I'm doing stereo ambient pad stuff, it's actually even crazier to completely reverse it and send the golden reverb into the delay with the pitched mem-man stuff, throwing things around and throwing the reverb around. So it's controlled chaos when you start throwing those orders around. And as if Eddie Van Halen showed us anything, is just throw everything in front of a distorted amp and it's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
One thing I really love is like, so the reverb is like so beautiful on its own. I have it here, like, but if I hit it with a distortion pedal, you know, and it's so, I love the way that sounds.
Oh man, no, in fact, you hit on something really important that, you know, when you're hitting that reverb, you're also hitting an entire tube stage hitting the tank. So the harder you hit that reverb, the more it actually responds back at you. Which most pedal, I don't think they just don't do that. They're the same. They just get louder.
Yeah.
So when you hit this harder, more harmonics come out of the tube and the tank. So it absolutely plays with you a lot more. So I'm glad you kind of found that. It's absolutely a thing. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know exact in this. Okay, one more question. I don't know how I got this sort of univibe setting out of the Astra. It happened. I know it happened. I heard it.
Yeah. I can tell you. I can actually tell you. It's
actually, James, can you show us? You mind sharing your screen real quick? And
sure.
Because I saw there was a question in the chat asking the same thing, asking can it do the univibe?
Well, you know, this goes to our guy Ross. It's like he went off-roading and we just had fun with it. So it has inspiration from it, but it's its own unique sound. So in that Dharmatron, I'm in front of the amp now. Let's just go here straight to it. So this is the crossover point. So I kind of like it around 10 o'clock.
Yep.
So let's just do this here. Depth all the way up, speed down. So it's this switch here. When you put that switch down, it gives it a chewier, almost vibey kind of thing. And put that around 9 or 10 o'clock, because if it's too high, it almost becomes slightly pitch trem. So there's this little lumpy spot, that low mid-range where it puts the pitch at that lump, and put the switch down, and then you've got that. So when you start hitting it with the... I'll turn that off. No delay either, just you start to get that wow, that growl. And there's what we used to call a swagger to that wow kind of thing.
Yeah, you
and
know,
that's very technical talk, isn't it? Just using my mouth to explain things. Sorry.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the sound. I hit on that, and then I was just turning knobs, and I was wondering how to get back.
Oh yeah, and the crazy one, what you're gonna dig is use the dynamic controller to start doing it slow. Put this fast, and then start letting it move around with you.
Wow. Let's see, I gotta get my depth in. There we go.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
There we go.
That's so cool.
It.
Well, man, Tyler, I could sit here and geek out with you all day, but we've got some more guests on their way as well.
Yeah. Wait, I gotta say, dude, props on the Shell Pink Strat. Love Shell Pink, dude.
It's my favorite color, you know.
That and Taurus Tiger guitar. I'm feeling super inadequate right now.
Oh man, you guys you know what? Thank you for making these awesome pedals. They've been very inspirational to have in the studio and.
Awesome.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much,
Tyler.
man. Nice. And so now we've got joining us, we got Chris Traynor from the band Bush. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, Chris.
Oh, you're muted. Oh, we missed it. We saw the smile, but we didn't hear the words.
We saw it.
The smile is all. The smile is
That's it.
everything. How's it going?
Yeah, morning.
Oh man, we're doing great. How about you? How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm like really having fun, like chatting up in the green room. Everybody, there's such great musicians back there and such a wealth of knowledge. So it's been a fun experience.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna be making our audience jealous that we're only streaming the on-air room, and they're missing out on all the green room fun in the background. But
Wait, do I get to go to this party after?
No, James, no. You're on here.
All right.
Well, Chris, we like Tim and Tyler. We got you a set of these pedals last week, I believe, and again, you've been prolific in kind of checking them out and come up with ideas with it. So I'd love to know, man, what's your first impressions? How you feeling about the pedals so far?
I mean, the sound goes through me. That's the thing is like when I first got them, I kind of like put them, I A/B'd them in mono next to like things that are supposed to do the same thing. And just the quality of the sound is like just double. And it's so interesting because like I spent like hours playing guitars with like one sound on these pedals because sound is really what kind of inspired us to get into this, to be guitar players, like the way the sound that makes you feel it. And when I hooked them up in stereo, it was just unbelievable, like just jaw-dropping. And it's got a richness and a quality that I think you just kind of have to feel. And it was inspiring. Like, it's interesting because it's inspiring like the way that old pedals were to me as a kid. And it made me want to play guitar. And so sometimes I get gear and I'm like, oh, this is complicated, or what does this do? Or I'm going to have to like dig deep into it. And these, I just like kind of plugged it in and like turned a couple knobs. And I was like, well, that sounds really good. Let's start recording that. And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, if you don't mind, do you mind if I share one of those clips with everybody here real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me share my screen so you guys can see and hear what we're talking about. Oh, dude. Man, the width, and we were just talking with Tyler about this too, man. There's that touch of modulation, just adding a little extra movement to the sound. One of the common themes I've been hearing back from everybody, all the artists that have been using these pedals, is like, Lyle said this to me the other day too. He's like, yeah, I don't usually use modulation pedals, but I like this one.
Yeah.
They're like, everyone seems to be finding use for those, but yeah, overall, if you had to pick a favorite between the three, which one right now, send two of them back to us and keep one. What one would you keep?
Well, and I'll tell you, and then you tell me what the other people chose, but I have to say this reverb pedal, like, I don't think that if I had any amount of money to spend on any reverb in a pedal, there's nothing that's even close to this. And so to me, that I love reverb, but I have like expensive taste in reverb, and reverb just, costs so much in processing and everything. And I usually shy away from having reverb pedals because this is the thing that I wanted.
Yeah.
This is the sound that I wanted. And is James still on with us?
James is
and
here,
I was just saying to James, like, I mean, like, I said, I don't care what happens. I did actually say to him, I was like, dude, I don't care what happens. I need that reverb pedal. It's just like, it just sounds unbelievable. And it sounds real when you have an experience of like what these things are are emulating what they're supposed to be like, that's what they sound like. And so some people maybe don't have an experience of what those things actually sound like, how it feels in your body to have that kind of a reverb. And these things are just amazing. But ironically, I didn't do a video, any sound clips. I did a bunch of sound clips, but none with the reverb, because I started out with the delay thing and I got lost in that for like hours. And then I was like, let me see what this modulation thing does. And when I was doing that track, I was just like, I put it down my knees. I didn't even know what happened. Like did a couple of buttons and like twisted the knobs, and I was like, that's cool. Like I didn't even understand what it was. And that's the fun thing about it. It just feels like what it was like when I was a kid, when I had those old analog pedals, like when analog pedals were the only pedals. Do you know what I'm saying? This is what that feels like.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And actually, I think Tor knows this from development, is there are no accidental positions on those knobs. Every position, every reason a knob does something was completely freaked out on. Like, we really wanted to make sure when you put something almost anywhere, it did something pretty unique. And I think what you're going to find is put the knobs anywhere and it'll do something cool that we hope is not hot garbage, to use a very technical term. It should be fun, you know?
I was explaining it to somebody on the phone. Been getting a lot of phone calls and texts about these pedals. And they were like, so, what's the delay like? And I was like, well, on the, on the tape delay, it has like splice and dropout. And somebody was like a little bit dismissive about it. They were like, do I really need that? And I was like, actually, you do. It's just like, you don't understand like the richness of something until you experience it. And that's the thing that I can't wait for people to hear about these pedals, is that it's like a richness and that until you experience it, you kind of don't know what it is. It's like, I just think the sonic quality, and you guys can speak to this, but it sounds like it's twice as good as anything that I've used. Like, like it's just like, feels like there's more power behind the processing of it.
There's totally that. And it, at the end of the day, a lot of, aside from the know-how of just having algorithm developers that are, the best in the business, there's also just the sheer amount of processing power that allow you to do an algorithm that's, detailed enough to get every single little quirk in there. Because a lot of times what you have to do to fit, an algorithm on a processor, you have to sort of cut away all these little bits, all these little things that actually make up, the entire sum of a certain emulation. And you start chipping away because users might not hear that. They'll probably don't need this. And you need that to actually be able to run the algorithm. And that was really one of the decisions here, to, start out with a whole new platform, with a whole new processor that allow us to run these algorithms the way they're supposed to be run.
Yeah, there's
also, James, you go.
Oh no, I was going to just say, there's to back it up. As an example, I have Pro Tools sessions from these, again, years ago, pre-Luna, when we started this project, honestly, that are just the way these things fed back, like 2 minutes of feeding back, and listen, like, at a minute 45 seconds, it does something when it's feeding back that I don't think we've nailed. And that, that's an insane level of torture for all of us to do that. But, I think Tim found some of that stuff when you let things feed back. But yeah, it's, we're basically fishing with lasers to do this, is what it feels like, we're high-powered lasers just to find, it's
nice.
And one of the other things that I loved too, is that on the reverb pedal, that you get the harmonics of the tank, which, unless like, again, I don't know, like I grew up with amplifiers that had tanks in them. I grew up with those like Fender kind of add-on tanks, the ones that you could buy like back in the day, the big ones, and they did have that, and I forgot about it until I like cranked one of the knobs. Like I cranked one of the knobs to see what it would do, and I was like, oh, that's a harmonic structure of a reverb tank that, like, I don't know if other pedals have it, but I've never heard it to the point where I was like, oh, that's it. This is the thing.
Yeah.
It's
the insane level of detail that you guys went to with all these algorithms. Yeah, we were joking about it yesterday, right, James? Of like, it feels like you could drop the pedal and bounce the spring inside the amp,
Totally.
Oh, you could. And Tony remembers these meetings where, we're trying to do the spring reverb, and they've got this 4-core processor, and we killed it on the first attempt. They're like, like, wow, we may have overdone this a lot because we wanted every crazy thing to happen, and we ended up. This was the first time we did it, but we ended up, getting it to work. So it's like funny, the thing that you think, well, it's just the spring reverb in the pedal, you think would be the easiest one. It was so hard because of all the weird physical things happening with the tubes and the springs and all these weird resonant notes that fly out of a tank. It was, yeah, there was a few weeks of pretty stressful, like, dude, can we pull this off? I don't know if we can. Like, we already have the most powerful processor. We can jam in this little box, and we killed it.
Yeah.
So.
I think another good example of that with the spring reverb is the fact that, typically on any sort of reverb pedal, when you have a decay knob, it's gradually increasing, the size of the room. But we're modeling real tanks here. So we don't morph the room. We're literally modeling different tanks. So when you choose the spring reverb on Golden, the decay knob is actually 3 positions with 3 different versions of that particular tank. A small, a medium, which is what you would find in the real amp, and then sort of like a larger version. But it's not this thing that can sort of inflate or deflate automatically. It is literally the tank modeled.
Nice. Awesome. Well, guys, we get to hang out and chat all day about this. But we've got one more guest, and then the chat is anxious. I've been teasing about these new Luna features, and they all know like once after we get our last guest through here, we'll be able to get to Luna stuff. But Chris, man, thank you so much for sharing that. And Dave, what up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, your hair's getting long, dude. You're looking tough. You got the Sons of Anarchy vibe going on with the beard.
Bro, it's been... So I was joking on Instagram yesterday. I was like, this has been a year-long play. I knew these pedals were coming a year ago, so I was like, you know what? Lockdown, we're just going to let it grow out. We're going to go full rock and roll.
I like it, man. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, man. And, like with all the other artists we've invited on, we got you a set of these pedals last week, and I just wanted to hear, man, how you feeling about them? How are you finding uses for them?
I personally haven't had a lot of time with them because I'm working with a band, and the moment they came in, the guitar player grabbed it, and it's been on every song on this entire record. I'm working with a band right now, and they won't let me play with it. So, but the cool thing is I have a lot of old pedals. I've been into pedals for years, and I have a lot of the, some of the emulation stuff in this. I have the original ones, and my problem with all that stuff is like one day it works, one day it doesn't. One day it's doing the right thing, the next day it's just making noise. And this gets me immediately to, like the old Roland original chorus pedal out of the gate. The Astra's been the thing that's been blowing me away. I mean, it's doing the delay's doing the DM2, which is my favorite old Boss pedal, but my DM2 acts up all the time. So it's doing all the classics, but without having to go and hook up and chain 10 pedals together and hope they don't hum or break or electrocute me. So it's really nice. And already we're getting into using them on vocals. There
was I was gonna say someone in the chat earlier asked, like, has anyone done examples with vocals yet? And we're like, we're gonna get to those samples, but it's good to hear that you're already finding ways to do it.
Well, it's funny because it's great as tape machines and plugins are. It's something's always rewarding about having a tactile thing for somebody to manipulate and as the track is going to continually feedback the delay or slow it down, speed it up, or modulate with the chorus. It's something really tactile about having an actual pedal. And so we quite often, and I'm sure like everybody here, uses pedals for vocals. And so they went straight to work. So I'll tell you more when I can actually play with them because I think but for sure that the Astra is better than any modern chorus that I played with.
Oh man, that's so good to hear, and I feel like we all expect, everyone knew that Golden's going to be amazing. Like UA, we're known for reverbs, known for the delays, but getting into that modulation side of things, you're not the first person to come back saying the exact same thing. Of like, I was really blown away with how Astro was working. But man, we've got James and Tor here with us, so I wanted to give you an opportunity if you had any questions or feedback for them that you guys are discovering while using it on the sessions.
Man, it's one of those things where it just feels like it's obvious right out the gate what to do with it, and I think you've really thought out the procedure really, really well, and everything is pretty self-explanatory. So and I love pedals too, where you just press buttons and they do cool things and you don't have to think about it too much, and this kind of does that. You've simplified even though it's a very complex entity, you've simplified the structure of it. And what a brilliant job of engineering, and also just making it simple enough for people that are dumb like me to understand. So I actually don't have any questions. The only thing I was going to say to you guys, they were asking me a second ago, what would you like UA to work on next? And I was saying, massagers, and we can start with foot massager. Because you can put your feet on it, and then we can move back to lumbar. So espresso maker, foot massager,
But we're gonna do authentic emulations of vintage foot massage. So like, it's gonna be good, but it might hurt a little bit, but in a good way,
Oh yeah.
There you go. But awesome work, you guys.
Oh man, so good to hear, and so excited to hear what you guys are doing with it, and yeah, man, I really look forward to hearing these records come out, and just being able to listen to them and be like, oh yeah, I hear the Astra there, I hear the Golden there, like that's gonna be so rad.
I have a feeling that about 10 records in a row are going to be completely modulated to it. So much so that I'm going to burn the sound out. You're going to have to create a pedal to demodulate after this point.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Dave, man, thanks so much for jumping on here. And I know you got to get back to work. But yeah, thanks for checking them out, and look forward to hanging out with you again here soon.
Awesome work, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Man, all right. Well, James, Tor, this has been a nice little whirlwind of a show. So good to hear the feedback coming in from folks all across the world, and from artists who are actually putting them to work already. So I wanted to hit a couple, just like one or two more questions real quick, and then we'll jump over into Luna World. And so one of the ones, there's been a bunch of people asking about line in, line out, which we talked briefly about yesterday at the end of the show. So I think we're answering that one in the chat a bunch too. Is like, yeah, it'll accept line level just fine. Yeah. Obviously, it's gain stage and prioritized for instrument input, but it can totally do line level, buffered or true bypass. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
People are asking about the power. Sorry, go ahead, Tor.
One thing to mention about the buffer to bypass. So by default, they're in 2 bypass, but we are working on this thing that allow you to set it into buffered mode. And the cool thing about that is that when it's in buffered mode, it also allow you to have trails, which is essentially the delay and reverb ring out naturally. Kind of like what they do when you switch between live mode and preset mode. They'll do the same thing when you turn the pedal off. So
gotcha.
You turn the pedal off, the delay and the reverb will still ring out.
Awesome. Power supply 9-volt, and it's 400 milliamp. Like these things, they're powerful little suckers.
There's a little nuclear power plant inside these pedals that require a lot of juice to run properly.
Yeah, awesome. And then the other one I don't think we got to touch on earlier was there's a Bluetooth button on the back. There's a USB port on the back. People are curious, what are those going to be used for?
Yeah, so let's talk about the first one first, the USB one. So the USB one is for software updates mainly.
Okay.
So, if we were ever to add any sort of, additional features or bug fixes or any sort of thing we might want to add, the USB is for that. You can also use that to register your pedal. And registering your pedal is the way you get the extra algos that we discussed yesterday. So, for Starlight, that would be the Cooper Time Cube, really cool, quirky kind of delay. For Golden, it's the plate and chamber from the L224 digital reverb, and for Astra, it's the phaser, the orange phaser, and the Dharma trim, which James so brilliantly demoed before, getting that sort of semi-univibe kind of sound.
Yeah.
So you can use the USB for that. And there's a free app that comes for Windows and Mac that will be ready when we ship the pedals.
Gotcha.
But the pairing knob on the back of the pedal is a Bluetooth knob, and that will allow you to connect to another app, which is a mobile phone, Android and an iPhone app that we're working on right now. There's still no specific ETA and when it'll be ready, but it'll essentially allow you to do a lot of the same things. You can't do software updates, but you'll be able to register the pedal and get the algos. But on top of that, some of the things we sort of hinted at a little bit, changing between buffered mode and true bypass mode, adding this sort of coloration, or even doing some things about how the foot switches work. I don't know if anybody noticed on my pedal board, but I never use tap tempo. So I turned off tap tempo on my delay, and you can do that in the app as well.
Oh, cool.
And that's what Bluetooth is for. So you basically allow you to connect with your phone and have the pedal and the phone talk together to give you, registration and these sort of extra little hidden features inside each pedal.
Oh man, that's so cool. All right, so that's man, there's probably a million more questions I'm sure people have out there, but the Luna folks are chomping at the bit. They want we've been teasing them so long. So James and Tor, man, it's been so fun hanging out with you today and yesterday, and I can't wait to continue to do these throughout the coming weeks and months, and getting people excited about the pedals. So thanks again for not just creating these pedals, but helping share this with the world. It's so cool to hear them.
Thanks so much, Ben, and thanks to everybody out there watching.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you, Ben.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're gonna switch gears here. We're gonna talk some of the upcoming Luna features, and before guys, we're running out of time. If you're watching this right now and you haven't entered the giveaway yet, you're gonna miss out. Don't do it. Go to uaudio.com/live. At the bottom of that page, you'll see the giveaway widget. Make sure you're entered to win. And now we're getting some familiar faces joining the room here. We got Matt, we got Drew, we got Lev, we got Connor, and we got a fresh face here too. We got Monty for the first time in office hours.
Hey, welcome, Monty.
Hey guys, happy to be here again. New year, new office hours crew.
I know, man, dude. This is exciting, and judging by the reactions in the chat, man, they're all chomping at the bit to know what you guys have got in store for this year. But man, it's been we're coming up almost on a year just past a year since we announced Luna.
Yep.
And man, can you believe how far it's come from the version that we showed at NAMM last year?
It's amazing. We've done 14 releases since then. Well, including, so that's huge on its own.
Oh wow, yeah.
Dozens of features, tons of bug fixes, keeping the feedback top of mind. Lots of really exciting stuff to show today. And the wonderful thing is, there's more than what we're showing in development. So this is just a slice of what the year holds. Some really exciting stuff. Really happy to be here.
Awesome, yeah, man, and. Yeah, that's the really cool thing is that there's we're gonna show some of the ones, we're gonna show some of the features. We're gonna work our way from what just launched with 1.1.4. We'll show some of the stuff that's coming 1.1.5 very soon, and then we've also got some kind of further out features that I think those are probably the most exciting ones. So we're gonna save the exciting ones for last, as any good show does. But we've also got some amazing guests who are going to come join us and kind of join us for the ride, and some familiar faces again from office hours. We'll be jumping in here, but and also if you guys have got questions in the chat, make sure you hit us up in there. I see, people are wondering about the winners of the free pedal giveaway. We're going to announce those at the end of the show here. I've got another surprise guest coming at the very end to help us announce all of our winners. And let's see. Yeah, I think let me get so our first guest that we're bringing in here is Terry Lewis, one of my favorite guests from Office Hours last year. What's up, Terry?
Hey, what's happening,
dude? How you doing today? Good to see you again.
Good, man. Good to see you as well.
It's been far too long, dude. But I wanted to check in with you. Are you still rocking with Luna? Still finding fun and creation in there?
Oh, I love Luna. I still just have like some editing issues and some rendering issues. So when I can get those scaled down to a dull roar, I'll be in Luna a lot more.
Nice. Well, and I was, based on your feedback, I remember, when we chatted last year about it, one of the things was editing with groups. Remember, originally it shipped with just, selection grouping, but in one of the updates that came out last year, we've added, edit and mixing groups to it, which is, actually, you kind of bring us into a good segue here. This, I think, Monty, I've got you queued up here to show us some of the features that just launched last week with 1.1.4. Do you mind sharing your screen and kind of walking us through some of the new stuff that just arrived?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, first of all.
We should intro Monty here because very excited that Monty has joined the team. Monty has a background in product development and product ownership, product management, and all things working on software as a product manager and even as an engineer. And he's joined the Luna team as a product designer. So alongside myself and the whole team, Monty will be helping us work on Luna features, and he's going to show some of the stuff that he's already been able to get done with the team. So really excited to have Monty with us, working with us full time on Luna, and just want to give him a warm welcome. He'll be joining us for office hours moving forward, and maybe even to some extent taking over some of the stuff that I would have been doing on office hours, and really looking forward to having him with us.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it's been a busy 6 months now. We've been cranking away at features that you guys have been requesting, and we appreciate that feedback. I'm going through it along with Connor and the rest of the team, and we're enjoying it. So one of the features we're going to talk about that came out in 1.1.4 was a value display and the incremental updates. So now when you do automation, you can actually see the incremental updates when you hold down Shift, and you see the value display pop up there that shows you your DBs and edits.
It's so helpful, man. I can't tell you, like, I can't go backwards from this now, because like that, be able to, when you're writing an automation, be able to put the points down, see what you're doing, and most importantly, be able to see the delta, see the change that you've made. It's for me, it was the thing I was missing with Luna's automation. It's now here.
Yeah, and having like a lead vocal that you're automating, or just going in and gain staging anything, you know, this is kind of the first step, and you want to kind of get, you know, granular with some of those automations. So I really enjoyed this feature specifically just because I didn't realize I needed it until I saw it, and I was like, this is amazing. So I love this new feature in 1.1.4. The other thing we did quickly was we worked on sends, and we did a lot of work to liberate the sends. So if in 1.1.3 and I guess in before that, everything before 1.1.4, the sends were kind of locked into a state where you couldn't do much with them. So we've liberated that a bit. So now you can drag and drop your sends across tracks, which is extremely handy and helpful in track arrangement and organization. And we've also added this, if you hover over the send, we've added these 3 buttons here. The first one is just being able to quickly jump into your browser and select your send route. And also opening up, you know, the full fader view of the send right here without having to jump around. It's all right under your mouse.
Nice.
And we've also added the menu feature. And this is also the same type of thing that we have on inserts. So if you've used inserts with this feature, you're going to be familiar with this. But also just shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, like holding down command key and copying over send, or excuse me, option, and being able to just quickly copy across a send row is extremely helpful. And then also just being able to command click and enable by holding down command. So that's something that if you're used to other DAWs and the way that, you know, they do inserts and being able to quickly enable and disable, this is one of the things that helped me to move through my sessions quicker and just A/Bing and things like that.
Dude, same here, man. Like as soon as this showed up in the beta, I was same with the automation display, but even more so with the sends. Yeah, being able to just option click drag, and you know, for me, like if it's, you know, big vocal stacks or whatever, being able to just boom boom boom, kind of copy and paste my sends across to each one is it's definitely sped things up, and you know, kind of it just, like you said, it made the workflow exactly like how you can treat the inserts now. So you can move things around, disable them, copy them, and inserts and sends now feel unified.
Yeah.
Also really enjoying the way, like when you hover over it, the icon for an insert that normally brings up the plugin window, in this case, opens the fader display. So instead of having to move over to the left to toggle into that view, if you need to adjust panning or just want a more, you know, console-like experience for your sends, then you just hit that button, get in, make your adjustment, and collapse it back down so that you're kind of back in a more ergonomic view.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, Monty, dude, great. I mean, kudos to the team. I know that it's always a team effort to bring these together, but you know, it's awesome kind of having you on board and helping lead the team to deliver even more stuff here inside of Luna like this.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and I think you got one more upcoming sort of 1.1.5 feature too. You can share with us about an addition to groups if you want to take us through a little bit of that.
I'm going to show one more thing with this, and then I'll do that. Now, one other thing with this that we wanted to do was to add batch workflows. So one of the things you can do is, if say you had, let's get rid of some of these. Say you had a vocal stack and you wanted to copy over, or guitar stacks you wanted to copy over your sends. You now can do copy all and paste all by right clicking on the sends header. And that'll let you basically copy, and to do it faster, you can actually copy from his sends header now and just swipe and paste that type of workflow.
Ooh, I didn't even know that one.
Yeah, that was a request by some of the members of the team, but it just lets you quickly copy over things without having to click several times to get to your route. So one of the other things we did was for the upcoming feature, which is to group sends. So now, if you right click on groups, you have another option for sends here pop up, and if you hit edit, you have this little checklet here you can check to add group sends together. So any tracks that are grouped together will operate in that fashion. Let's see if I've added the tracks I need to. So now these tracks are grouped together, and the sends are also grouped as well. And you can do things like, disable the groups, and it'll disable all that. And so the biggest thing for us is to allow for very quick workflows with sends. And this is one of the bigger things that I wanted to do, especially within the group context, because a lot of us work in groups, especially with drum buses and things like that, or drum workflows. It's really quick to add those sends, especially for things like reverb and delay and things like that.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Okay.
Nice. Well, Monty, man, we got a ton of features to run through. I don't want. Hopefully, you guys don't feel like this is too frantic of a pace, but we got a lot to show off here. But Terry, before I let you go and we bring on our next guest, any feature requests? I know you mentioned the editing thing, so I'm curious to know like what anything specifically you'd like to request from the team. While you got all the literally all the decision makers are here in the room with you.
No, it's just, I guess, convolution of all the information that you get. You just got to process it. So I don't have anything concrete right now. And then it's just repetition, just getting used to the interface. So no, great job, guys. I love what you've done, and I know I'm going to love what you're doing. So
that's awesome.
now, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, man, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you're doing in there. And do you have some records planned for 2021?
Oh, we have a lot of records planned for 2021. Right now, we have a Stokely Williams record out, Cascade with the Bonfire, and we're releasing a Jammin' Lewis Volume 1 record.
Ooh.
So that includes a whole lot of great artists that we worked with over the years, and it's going to be a very special record. Right now, we have the single out, He Don't Know Nothing About It, which is featuring Babyface. And
oh, man, I can't wait to check it out.
Legends, man.
Very happy.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Terry. Appreciate it, man.
Really appreciate you, Terry. Thank
forever,
you, man.
Thanks, yes. True legends in the house.
Let's do it.
True.
Nice. Well, so now, look who's busted in here. We got Jamie Liddell and Trevor Lawrence Jr. How you guys doing today?
Yo, what's up, Ben?
Oh yeah.
Yo, good to see you guys yet again. You guys have a good New Year. Staying safe and staying creative.
Yeah. Been blessed to be busy, man. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yep. Similar.
Nice.
Watch out for Jamie. He might take over the stream, Ben.
he's been known to do that.
He's got a history of taking over streams.
Uh-oh. I won't.
I mean, kind of feel free though, actually.
We'd be lucky to have it.
That was an awesome episode.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, nice guys. Well, I'd love to, quickly before we jump into the features that are coming up here in 1.1.5.
You got it.
Have you guys been also kind of staying relevant, working inside of Luna very much? I'm wondering if how that's been going for you guys.
I know I'm due to probably do an update, but for me, sonically, it's still superior to everything. We're talking offline about MIDI stuff, but just on the sound side and how the drums sound when I play, record them in there, and even when I import them and mix them in there, either way, it's just night and day from everything else. I've been putting people on it too. I'm trying to get people to understand the level, that it's so different than the other stuff that's out there.
Hell yeah. How about you, Jamie?
I haven't been using too much of much aside from I've been really just concentrating on making my pod and being a dad. It's dad and then pod from time to time and explorations into various things, mostly related to trying to do things for the podcast, so yeah, I mean, hey, I'm due as well a time to sort of rekindle this relationship. Nice. But I need to be tempted by new features.
Oh, wow.
Can you lure me in with some features?
Well played, Jamie.
Yeah, well, about these features.
About that, exactly. Well, we'll split we've got two features to show you here, and I'll show you guys the first one, and I'll let Drew take on the second one. So let me share my screen here real quick. So you guys, you may have already seen this a little bit in when Monty was sharing his window, but you guys you'll probably notice that the click portion of the toolbar has changed slightly. There's a 1 there, and if you're scratching your head like, what's that 1? That's we now have counting. This is
you. Yeah. We had that conversation on the last. Yes.
Exactly. We were listening, bro. Yes. So the click now. Before all last year, we were showing you guys on office hours over and over again, like how to use pre-roll and kind of as a substitute for click in. But man, count it. It's one of those features that a lot of people really love to have, and especially if you're gonna have that consistency of every time you press record, getting my count in, so what you can do now is you can click on the click menu here. You'll see you can select how many bars of count in you have. So you can have just 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have 2 bars, 4 bars. You're also, I think these are, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, but I think these are also new too, right? The click during and the send to controls kind of being a little bit more contextual like this.
That's right. Yeah. So send to cues and outputs have always been there, but the 2 components on the left are added as part of the count in feature. So click during just gives you a little bit more control over exactly when the regular metronome, just the, previously existing metronome occurs, so that you could have, just a count in or just a metronome while you're recording, but not playing back. Really typical expected baseline metronome functionality there. Mm-hmm. And then yes, the count in bars setting just lets you choose 1, 2, or 4 bars of count in, and then of course that button up above lets you turn it on and off.
Yep. And similar to the click to the regular click track, there's going to be the keyboard shortcut. So over on the number pad, you can hit 7, and then you can hit 8 for count in. And what I kind of like about this too, man, is that they're separate. So you can have just a count in. You can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the click doesn't continue on unless you tell it that you want the click to keep going. So it can be a useful function if you're maybe say recording something that's not quite on the grid, but you want to imply, hey, here's the tempo we all said we wanted to record the song at. You can give them that count in to start the song, but then let them go free after that, which I know, having worked with Jakir King a lot, that's one of his favorite things to do as well. Nice.
Yeah, there are keyboard shortcuts just to throw out there. So in case you're working on a laptop where you don't have a numeric keypad on the far right of your keyboard, K now turns on and off the metronome, and Shift K turns on and off the count in.
Ooh,
nice. Hard.
Nice. I love that you guys are considering the laptop folk who don't necessarily have the number pad always available. That's awesome. All right. Well, so that's count in, and let me kick it over to Drew, because this is another one I know, Trevor, you're gonna really appreciate this other feature that's arriving here in the next update.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so let me my screen.
Just one quick little thing. This one probably won't be in the next update, but maybe 1 or 2 after that. We're still, sorting some of these things out. So a lot of what you see here, definitely the count in is we're shooting for that next, but this stuff that you're about to see might be, one after that or another after. So all forthcoming here, what we've seen so far sometime during the year, just to
gotcha. So all the features we're seeing from now to the end of the show, these are all sometime in 2021, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Right, cool. Yeah, so what I'm going to be showing is what we've added here is, and what we're going to be adding in the future is this utility row. And the basic idea here is that we have trim and polarity inversion. So if I double click, I can enter a specific numeric trim, or I can click and drag as well. So this is really handy to be able to adjust your gain pre everything. Like this is before, right, Connor? This is even before the tape, right? It's literally it's in the signal flow that you see on the mixer.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah. So it's super simple on an individual channel, but on stereo channels, you can see that we have the ability. We're going to be adding the ability to link and unlink those, and which is really handy. Let's say if your overheads were recorded a little bit out of balance, left side's a little heavier than the right side, and you want to trim that up. We can get in here and do a little dB trim and then link them, and then now they'll stay relative linked to each other. And so it's a really handy way of being able to sort of just refine that levels coming from the timeline into the mixer. And then, of course, the big feature here is the other feature is the polarity inversion, which exists in the utility row. But this is pretty ubiquitous in mixing, and therefore we also added it down here, right in the mixer, down here at the bottom of the fader. And this is great. Phase is super important, especially when you're multi-tracking things, multi-tracking drums in particular. I've got a little song here. This is something I tracked last year, and I actually did all the phase checking while I tracked it, so everything is good to go. Let me just hit play here, and you can hear a little bit of this. So there you got a little bit of rock there for you. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to solo up the snare and I'm going to solo up the overhead. So let's just pretend I didn't track this song and I wasn't sure that this phase relationship was correct. One of the first things I would do as a mixer is I would check this. So I'm going to solo the snare and I'm going to solo the overheads and I'm going to play that same section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle the polarity inversion on the overheads. And I want you to listen carefully to the bottom end on that snare drum, and you'll see that right now it's correct because I tracked it and I did it during tracking. But if it weren't correct, this is what it would sound like. You can hear that bottom end, that the depth of the snare. It goes from being a 4-inch snare drum to a 6-inch snare drum, so to speak.
That's one of the right. That's why Trevor, I knew that's something that I'm sure you probably do during the tracking side of things as well. But
but still, being able to have the ability to do that is super dope. And I like the stereo. The trim thing. I mean, I usually tend to do my overheads on one channel just because I like to make up for that. But then now it's like I can just do it on stereo, and if one side's a little funny, I'll just trim it up. So that's dope. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And so those are a couple of the new ones coming up here, coming in a little bit shortly. And I'm trying to think, are there other times that you guys have run into polarity issues where having that sort of control would be handy? I suppose like multi-track guitars, right? If you're doing it's essentially anything that you multi-mic, being able to go in there and just quickly invert the phase makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, if phase and time are interrelated. So, for example, that snare to overhead example that I showed, that may not always be in phase or out of phase. It depends on how high up your overheads are, because you're going to go in and out of phase and in and out of phase as you move away from the source. So, and yeah, with multi-micing guitars, it could be the same thing. If you put a mic 10 feet back, it may land in phase, it may not land in phase, and you got to just do your due diligence and check that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
If you ever watch Chad Blake talking, he'll flip the phase all the time with EQ changes because obviously you're shifting phase with EQ. So it's not only a sort of a boring thing to align microphones, but it can also be, although that's not boring, that's essential, but it can be a creative thing too, where you might not think to flip it when you're doing EQ changes. Watching him, he makes you realize it's always good to try it. Because you know, much as you might go from a 6-inch to a 4-inch snare, that might be actually what you want in certain cases. So it's a super important thing every time you're working with EQ. Anything that changes the phase, try flip it. And it's really nice that it's available that quickly. I actually, you know, I applaud that. Definitely, it's a really important thing. Phase, you can abuse it quite nicely.
Yeah, that out of phase Sans amp bass drum Chad Blake trick is glorious, man. That's a classic.
Extends the low end. If people don't know about that, it's a kind of a. I don't quite know exactly how it works, but it works.
Yeah.
Well, it also is a good way to check. Sometimes, you know, in this day of sending stuff via, you know, stems and all that, it's out of your hands after the stems. And I can't tell you how many times I've sent something and got it back, and all of a sudden there's no phase difference between overheads and snare drums because they tried to quantize every microphone live drum and put it all in the exact same place.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's just good to have that functionality for, you know, whether it be on purpose or, you know, just to right a wrong that's been, you know, it's just great to be able to do it. So that'll be cool. But that count off, man, especially when you're in quarantine trying to cut and you got to walk over to the drums and have the, you know what I'm saying? Like, are we gonna? Hey, listen, I'm gonna say it right now. Let's get an app for the iPad so that we can remotely, you know, do it down the line or our phone. You know, because I'm from one side of the room to the other, depending on which drum kit it is, and it might, you know. I'll try to run there in 4 bars.
You've got 4 bars. Yeah.
If the song's at 150, the song's 150.
It's not very much time.
It's gonna be
Did see an interesting thing. You ever seen those rings, the wave fronts?
Yeah. Oh, I have one of those. That's right.
Right, and they've just introduced that exact thing, Trevor. They've introduced like remote recording.
Dude, I gotta dig that thing out.
You know, I'm just, you know, I'm looking out for you, Trevor.
Oh, dude,
Like, I've got one too, and I'm like, I like this thing, but suddenly when they introduced that, I was like, now that could be the most useful feature they've added yet.
Hey, that's
something so simple, but you want it all the time.
Right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think the other thing is that, you know, a lot of people are using something like Sidecar on an iPad, or there's a couple of other apps that do kind of a similar thing. You get like the whole Luna screen on a secondary monitor. That can be a really good way to be out in the tracking room and still have like all the hands on that you need.
Yeah, Chrome Remote Desktop works really well too. I've seen a lot of users having luck with that. Very low overhead.
I don't know that I'm quite, if I committed to putting my OS that current.
On that there are some like Duet Display, I think runs on older OSs, is a good one.
Yeah.
There's ironically also an app called Luna Display. No joke. Although it's got a little hardware dongle that kind of increases the performance, but that's another one that would probably work a couple revs back and could share the screen on an iPad.
Can you use a MIDI command to start recording in Luna?
I'm so glad you asked. We're going to talk about that a little later.
Yeah, very interesting.
Because then I can think of a very cheap budget solution for those of you who don't want a wireless thing. You get a massive USB cable connected to your computer. Just take any old crappy keyboard and just hit it with your foot.
Yep.
Whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just tap
Let's
it.
make it to where our phone keypad to dial turns into the number keypad.
Yeah. I think there's some ideas like that you guys are talking about that are, we could come up with something simple just to make that like really easy if it's just for some of these types of remote commands. So super interesting.
Hey Siri, I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Siri, know what you want, Trevor.
Awesome. Well, guys, Trevor and Jamie, man, thanks for jumping in here, and as always, your continued support with all things UA, and we'll keep we got some more we got some more features we want to preview. We got some more guests we're gonna bring in, so let's we'll let you guys head back to the green room and bring on our next guest.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Oh,
hey,
boy.
what's up, Fab and fans?
Look at you two. There we go.
What's up, guys?
Hey, guys. Welcome to the show. How are you guys doing?
The whole gang's there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice bedroom.
See you guys.
Yeah, we're all here.
Decision makers right there.
That's true.
I was like, you've got the most important ears in the company right here for what's coming inside Luna, and the so Fab Van. I guess before I tease you guys with some stuff that's coming up here shortly. Are you both still kind of finding uses and finding reasons to get inside of Luna?
Yeah, sure. Are you kidding? Yeah, of course, of course. I'd like to remind you that Luna has no latency. Right, that part, and so that makes it very useful when you actually want to make music, which is, I like to make music from time to time.
Yeah, I've heard.
Pure mix shoots. So yeah, of course, yeah.
That's awesome.
And downstairs at Flux at 3B, so in the room on the third floor, Stelios has now switched to a dual workflow with Ableton and Luna. So he does all the tweaky shit in Ableton and all the human stuff in Luna because it has no latency.
Awesome. Nice. And yeah, I was curious why you guys are how you ended up in the same room together. You guys are shooting some new PureMix content, I assume.
We're getting married.
Oh, that makes much more sense.
Yeah. It's we've been trying to keep it down, but this has been a raging love affair.
Tennessee's getting very cosmopolitan. Yeah.
And we're very cosmopolitan. I mean, I'm a young boy from Missouri,
cosmopolitan,
and he's from Paris, and it's a cosmopolitan story.
There you go.
Nice.
We're shooting a start to finish with Vance.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And a really great band called Weird Sisters, friends of his. Really cool.
Awesome. That'll be great.
Awesome.
Rock and roll band.
Nice. Well, so I saw a comment kind of fly by a little bit earlier. They were wondering, folks were wondering. Typically, as you guys, if you've been around office hours at all for the last year, you'll notice that the most common response you'll get from us is we cannot comment on future features. And they're wondering like, what's so different about today? Well, it's it's the NAMM time of year. This is the time of year to kind of show off. But more importantly, Connor, as you were talking about, some of these features we're loving the user feedback point of this. So like being able to get these features out on being able to show them off here in kind of a preview state is a good opportunity to hear back from you guys of how you guys are, if you're excited for the features, if there's tweaks or different things that you want to see to them. This is a great way to kind of get that early feedback happening, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, this is an opportunity to give you guys a little bit of an insight into what's going on. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is just a slice of what's actually happening this year. Some of the really exciting features are being presented here. Some of the really exciting features aren't quite ready to show. But the ones that we're putting on display today, that feedback button is now another avenue to say, okay, cool. I see that you're working on the thing I requested. Now these are the most important things. And we're going to be extending a little bit of that too. I think in the somewhat near future, you'll hopefully be able to see some more direct types of feedback opportunities in that feedback form to respond to some of these particular types of goals for features that we're working on, like in the form of a survey. So that's some stuff that we're shooting to do in the near future as well through the feedback form. So absolutely. That's really the key thing is it's announcement time of year for pro audio, and we want to start getting your input on these things as soon as we can.
So people in the chat are mentioning your dog, Connor.
Somebody needs belly rubs back there.
Got some serious dog porn going on back there, dude.
Let me do some leaning here, some convenient leaning.
His name is Loki, so it's appropriate name.
I am happy that he's comfortable.
He is really comfortable. He likes.
Comfortable and like.
Oh my God.
Comfortable.
So I don't know. Here's a little problem. I don't know about you, Vance, but we get versions ahead of time, and communications ahead of time.
Are we supposed to tell people that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
fine. And so I have no clue what's official and what's not.
So let me tell you about all the things that you guys are doing right now that I like.
Okay.
In other words, maybe you guys should tell us what you're announcing.
Yeah, because otherwise we may say something that we're not supposed to. And then the second thing is, Vance and Jakir and myself are going to get together at the end of the week, and we're going to come out of that meeting with a bunch of stuff for you, Connor and Lev.
Beautiful.
It's already planned. It's on.
Oh, nice.
Looking forward to
That's most excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So
that.
you guys will get the list of the list.
The list.
That's important for us. Yeah, we
we
need the
haven't
list.
we haven't really talked about it too much on the show, but I mean, Fab and Vance will both remember that I sort of stalked them back in like 2015. I was like, hey, can I come hang out with you guys and just watch what
Lev,
you do?
you sat right there behind
Yes, I
me
did.
for 4 days.
Yeah, it was
asking
awesome.
questions.
And I was just like really intent on like just seeing what you guys were doing. And it really was all about like laying the groundwork for Luna. And I know we haven't quite got every feature that you guys need, so we're looking forward to that list later in the week, but just want to thank you guys for being a huge part of what Luna has become.
I gotta say, from the first version that I saw, which was 3 years ago now in Lev, something like that, in your room and at NAM.
Yeah.
Well, at least 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3. But
I mean, with COVID, it's like 17 years. But yeah,
yeah, no, it's weird.
Decades.
I mean, it's gone a really long ways, and I like where it's going all along. I have a few sniggling details that drive me crazy, but
we'll get them.
I know that you guys are listening and you're going to get to them.
Yeah, man.
Well, so speaking of, let's Matt, I think you're queued up here to show us the next hot thing that's coming into Luna, and this is something that we've shown a lot. We showed some kind of workaround ways to do this last year inside of Luna, and Fab, I know you're gonna be a massive fan of this one as well.
Yeah, this has been probably one of the most highly requested features that I've seen in the chat, and one I'm pretty excited about too. So, so yeah, we're talking about session templates here.
Nice.
Aha. So yeah, pretty much worked exactly how you expect it to, which is awesome. People can get right into it, and there's not much fussing around with it that isn't like normally saving a session. So I already have a session set up here. It's kind of my songwriting template for writing like electronic music. So in the file menu here, there's a new option called Save as Template. So once you have your session set up with all your tracks, sends, whatever you want to save in the template, plugins, anything that would normally be saved in a Luna session, you can save in a template, BPM and everything like that. Go to the file menu here and go Save as Template, and this new dialog box will pop up where you can save templates. So I'm going to give it a name, Songwriting Template. And the only thing to really be aware of in this box here is this little checkbox in the bottom left corner, Save Audio with Template. It's unchecked by default because most of the time you don't want to save your audio files with your template. You want to be able to recall it blank and record new audio into it, right? But if you did want to save some audio, whether it be like a custom click track you have or maybe like a drum loop that you like to record to, check that box and any audio you have in the session will be saved as well. For this demo, I'm going to keep that unchecked. Go ahead and hit save. Now when I go back to the create page here, where it normally just says start from AAF, you're going to see this template box. So I can click that and I get my list of all the templates that I've created. So I'm going to go and select songwriting template. It auto changes the tempo to what I had it before. If I wanted to use the same template but started a new BPM, I can type something in there. Same thing with the time signature. I'm just using 4/4 here, but if I was using something different, it would autofill the time signature.
Nice.
My computer's thinking about it for some reason.
Because we're online watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's under.
It's nervous. Yeah.
It's feeling a little stressed. Luna has feelings too.
Yep. Cool. And just like that, I'm right back in. I got my template with no audio saved. I'm ready to start recording my songwriting template.
Yeah. So this is great, not just for production, right? Too. So you can use this for a mixed template, like Fab. I know we showed this a couple times. So like being able to create, this was essentially what you did, like say with the Nezreen record, right? Mix your first song, save it as a template. Now you have all of your multi-tracks, all of your busing, all your groups, all your plugins are all now stored. Just all of the audio taken out of it, so that way you can drop in the stems for the next song and keep on working.
Okay, this is awesome. Maybe Matt, you could or Lev or Connor explain a little bit how this is different from just saving a session and reopening that session and saving it as. I think that would be cool for people to get the different vibe.
Yeah, for sure. So the main difference is that it automatically appears in a described list of templates when you go to the create page. So instead of having to open another session and then do a save, copy, or duplicate, it's right at your fingertips from the beginning of your experience in Luna. So that's the key thing, is that it's distinct way to create a version of the session that is reusable forever until you decide to delete that. The other thing about it is it creates a folder on disk where you can drop your templates and make sure that's in sync either with Dropbox or however you want to, keep everything up to date across different systems. Your templates are stored in a particular location, they're a particular file format. So they in essence are a Luna session file, but they're declared separately so that you can put them in this place and they'll just automatically be found by Luna and you can keep it in sync across systems.
And also, it making the template cleans up the audio out of it for you if you want to, and you don't have to do forensics and shrink the file size.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah, none of the manual labor that was previously necessary. No like undo queue, none of the other, like it's all cleared out. It's a brand new blank document with no data in it, if you choose.
And that's bananas.
Yeah, the last example I showed was more of instruments and that kind of thing. This is like a recording template, but you can see it recalls all the same inputs as well, recalls whatever tracks I had in ARM mode, even buses that I had in ARM mode. Yeah, recalls everything exactly how you had it. The only thing to be aware of though is anything that's not saved in normal Luna sessions doesn't get recalled. So like your Q output settings or your IO matrix settings, that's all global, doesn't get saved with sessions. So that won't get recalled with templates.
Gotcha.
Something to be aware of.
Yeah, as it should be. Cool. Like your hardware environment is really like that's what you've got set up for your particular configuration, and the session is really about the mix, the tracking template, the input configuration, all that stuff will be saved with the tracks. But yeah, anything that's global, as Matt said, is not going to be overwritten by either opening someone else's session or creating a template. It's going to stay exactly how you last left it.
Yep. Awesome.
Nice. Well, man, yeah, this is something I've been really looking forward to, and as someone who has multiple templates kind of bouncing around between mixing and production and just creating songwriting, like being able to get in there and customize these and create them for your setup and have it restore everything intact, even as you saw, like these are record ready. Like I love that you can save it with that state, pull it up, and it's literally like it's a live template ready to rock.
Yeah, it's really just removing as many barriers as possible between getting inspiration and opening Luna and recording that in.
I love it.
I also think it's fair to say that this is going to be somewhat thematic. Been a lot of great requests on just management of sessions and things that people want to do with them. And this is, I think, in the best shape to show, but there's other great stuff coming as well.
Yeah, it's like the chat. I don't know if you guys are watching the chat right now, but it's nonstop. Yeah. More and more feature requests, which is great because all of you guys that are already in Luna and you've seen lots of great suggestions. Color palette, audio quantizing, like multi outs, all the keep on hitting the feedback button because that the volume of feedback really helps inform these guys on what you guys the users want to see next.
And also the great thing about all that feedback is it doesn't stress Lev or Connor at all. No stress, no pressure, so it's great.
Yeah, no extra work for them.
No, they hang mostly. You can tell they're tan.
No, you actually make our jobs easier, and it's not a joke.
No, that is very true.
If we know what people want and it's just overwhelming, then that's what we're doing. That's literally the way we're running the team. So it's pretty cool.
It's really cool. We've got a couple more guests that we're gonna add them in here. We'll let Fab and Vance hang out. We're just from now on, from here to the end, we're getting closer and closer to party mode because we're also getting closer and closer to drawing the giveaway winners. By my clock, there's like less than 2 minutes left to enter. So if you haven't already done so, literally uaudio.com/live. It's a race right now to get in there. But we're gonna draw the winners for those live on air here after the giveaway closes. And we got some more fresh faces. Leggy Langdon. We got Joe Zug. John Paterno. What up? How you guys doing?
Ooh, holy cow. What a
crew. Guys.
Fabulous. Wonderful. How is everybody?
Oh, we're doing
really good.
John, I haven't seen you in ages.
I know. Look at this. Your hair is fabulous. I'm long.
Well, thank you so very much. Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did it this morning.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Private hairdresser right here.
Well, and
we have the same hairdresser actually.
Yes,
I can tell.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, at different times of day though.
Different time of day. Yeah.
Well, as we're making this more and more of a party, we're kind of leading up to like this is one of the biggest requested features that we've been seeing, and it's one I know a lot of people are going to be really excited to see arriving in Luna this year. So I wanted to bring on as many of you guys to kind of learn about this for the first time, and then like I said, we'll draw the giveaway winners. But also, I think we're going to hang on here for a while, even after we get through all the features, because we've got a lot of incredibly smart and amazing creative folk here on the stream. So if you guys in the chat, obviously we're talking about features now, but if you guys have got questions for any of our artists that are joining us here today as well, make sure you're dropping those in the chat, and we'll do a little Q&A session after we get through this final feature, which we've been leading up to. I guess I'll give it over to you, Connor. I'll let you have the glory here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the thing that we've got to really do to start out is we have to bring in another camera angle for me here. So if you can add in the other non-actual Connor Sexton, I think it's a far more flattering angle, and it'll give you some kind of insight into what it is exactly that we're going to be talking about. And I'll also share my screen once I kind of see this kick into gear here.
You might need to press a button on your phone there to accept it.
Oh, I got to accept. Okay.
Yep.
Join. Here we go. Thanks for the cue there.
Technology.
Oh, and now we're like,
all right.
There it is.
There we go. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see what is a control surface here, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk a little bit about our support for the MCU control surface format.
Ay, caramba.
Ay, caramba, indeed. So just to say it, this is the start of control surface support in Luna. We chose MCU because it is by far the #1 most requested in all of the feedback. Now we know that, of course, there are other control surface types and standards out there. And if you are a user of one of those formats, Yukon, Softtube, keep hitting the feedback. And in particular, reach out to the manufacturer of those devices and let them know that you're also interested in using their device in Luna. We would really appreciate that. We need all the help we
already
can
did
get.
that repeatedly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, kind sir. We need all the help we can get.
Maybe you want to say what MCU means for those who were born post 1923.
Yeah, thank you. It's a amazing MIDI. Let's just talk about how the longevity of MIDI is just this remarkable consumer technology. But Mackie Control Universal is a format for control surface interaction between a surface developed by Mackie many years ago, before some of us on this call were maybe even born, who knows? And it works across a whole suite of devices, some which use their own proprietary format and others which are just dedicated to the MCU format, like the one Mackie makes. I have here on the screen a Icon Pro Audio QCon Pro G2, totally fine surface, does the job for me here to start demonstrating some of these features and talking about where it is that we're headed with control surface support. So there's a couple of straightforward, super basic things that you're going to want to see, like the fact that these faders here are totally responsive to banking and are connected to things in Luna. So if you can see all of this happening at once, I'm of course adjusting a fader or 3 on the control surface, and they're happening inside of Luna, and of course vice versa. So things like automation will update the surface, all the things that you would of course expect. Selection of tracks, muting, soloing, and record enabling, which probably, hopefully that didn't just, I stopped hearing something. Hopefully everyone can still hear me.
Yeah, we still hear you.
Fantastic. Cool. Something changed in my headphones, so that was a little odd. But the one thing that we've been saying here that's actually really unique about just what you're seeing on the surface that's been a part of Luna since the very beginning is fader tapers. And this is kind of a rabbit hole, but it's also a realism thing where, because of the work that we've done to model things like the taper of faders based on the console summing, you're actually seeing the faders on the surface change their positions based on the console that they're feeding it, so to speak. So Neve summing, you can see the faders are in one position. API summing, the faders are in another. And of course, with Luna, there's a custom fader taper. Now, as you know previously, the levels aren't actually changing. The gain's not changing. It's the position of the fader relative to the scaling of gain on that throw. So you're actually, as we've been saying, having the tangible experience of mixing on one of these consoles. So this is totally unique in this space. There's nothing like this that adjusts the faders to actually respond and feel like they would feel on a modeled console. So that's one thing that just works right out of the gate with our control surface support. It's not a special feature. It's just baked into Luna, that what you have set up as your console in Luna is what you're going to be mixing on the surface. A number of other straightforward things that are already functional at the moment. I can zoom in. Ooh, here we go. Development preview, everybody. So as is often the case with early features, we will experience all kinds
Does
of...
it have a quit button on the remote control? Is that what
That's what that was.
That's what I pressed.
That is awesome.
Yeah, you were like, hey.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a perfect segue to, let's see if I can hide any necessary proprietary information from the wonderful live stream folks
Very
here.
nice.
Yeah.
Who did that session that's up on your screen right now? Interesting.
Yeah, it's one of our dear friends, Greaves, and I've used it, and we've got some of our heavy hitters in the house to help us along the way with all of this stuff as usual. And as we get back in action here from this crash, the other things that we've got going on in Surface Support at the moment are automation modes. I can select a track and, of course, switch between read and touch, turn on and off trim mode, which, again, is a really powerful way of mixing so that you can set up a bunch of levels. And the next thing that I'll show is actually another one of these really advanced sort of possibilities that in Luna has a really unique way of working. Some folks out there might be familiar with the way this works on some surfaces in the form of a concept called layouts. But in Luna, what happens is the surface will actually respond to the show hide state of tracks, of course. So that's totally expected. So here's a really quick way of showing just a certain set of tracks. I've just shown only the tracks in my submixes group, which is drum, drum smack, the bass track on its own, the instrument bus, and 2 vocal buses, and of course the main fader, which I should say on most MCU devices, if they have a dedicated master fader, is always distinctly addressed. So this fader over here is always set to master no matter where you bank the rest of the surface. Super
nice.
convenient.
That's really
super
cool.
easy to, at any time, just adjust the main fader of your session. So where I'm getting to with this show hide stuff is that, as you may know, with alternate windows in Luna, you can have separate show hide states. There are a couple ways of opening alternate windows I'll talk about really quick, or if I right click up here in the view menu, I can open a new timeline window. As you see, the surface just adjusted to this particular window. So my plan here is to go ahead and set up the surface so I can really quickly have a view of my submixes, a view of my drums, a view of my instruments, and a view of my vocals. And all I have to do to change what's on the surface is just tab between these. So this is a really powerful way of just being able to sit here and listen to my drums, listen to my drum smack and bass, be like, okay, this is happening here. And then I want to go ahead and dive into what's going on the instruments. So here I am on the instruments, and I've just done that without having to nudge around the surface at all. I don't have to bank. I can just switch windows in Luna, and now I'm looking at my instruments. Of course, in Luna, you don't have to solo safe anything. So if I just wanted to listen to the piano here, I just have to solo the piano. I don't have to think about any of the things that are flowing through the signal chain. Really handy, really intuitive. But if I do want to just listen to the instrument bus, I've got that, and then I can solo things within it. So let me just take a listen to the piano and some other items here. So I've got the synth going on right here. And if I just want to adjust these levels, of course, it's as easy as moving the faders. And if I want to actually adjust the automation for these, then I'm able to switch these into touch mode and switch these into touch mode. And I can start writing automation. And this will, of course, play back. I'll switch it to automation view here. And you can see that in action. Another thing we've got working is the jog wheel can navigate around the session by bars. So if I want to move forward to the hook, for instance, let me just nudge that exactly into place and move to the hook. I can do that simply with the jog wheel. And then let me clear out all these solos. And then if I want to switch over to my vocals, let's get to a section of the song here by zooming out with the surface. I'll adjust the track view. Let's see, I want to head into this section right here and start just taking a tour through these tracks on the surface. So I'm going to expand these into view using the E key, and I'm going to focus these on the surface. This is the hook bus. So I'm just going to take a look at this here by soloing this. So these are all the channels in the hook. Got here really easily, of course, as you saw it. So I could navigate around using Luna windows and get to this stage where I'm just looking at the hook bus really easily and use the functionality on the surface to kind of understand, all right, what's going on in here in the hook bus, and check out parts of these on their own. Oh, I didn't solo the bus. That's what happened. So I'm just kind of like using the surface really naturally to figure out what these elements are. It's that hook harmony I kind of want to bring down just a little bit so it's all more balanced. Really natural stuff that I can do super easily on the control surface. So we're already pretty far along on some of this stuff, but there's a really long way to go. It's hard to say when this will be available to users in Luna. You may see this and say, wow, I want this right away. As you saw, we already had at least one technical issue, and I've probably glossed over a whole number of other things, but it's an in-development feature. One of the as someone said earlier, it's the most requested feature from our user community by far. And it's just the beginning of control surface support in Luna. So incredible power at the fingertips with an MCU device. There's a number of devices that also can emulate MCU. So we're looking at that stuff as well. Yukon does have a way of emulating MCU, and we've seen that in action. I'm not able to show that today, but we're seeing that work. There's plenty of issues to iron out there that are unique to that implementation, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening here. And hopefully this preview has given you at least some indication that, yep, it's top of mind for us. We're already pretty far along on the implementation. There's certainly more work to do, but an incredibly exciting set of features and power to add to Luna that will be happening in 2021.
Man,
how many channels of control surface should we be able to expect?
So with Mackie Control Universal, you can have up to 4 devices with 8 faders. So it's the spec for MCU. Some devices are, of course, just one fader, like a fader port situation, and others like this one have 9 faders, one for a dedicated master fader, and then there's dedicated expander devices. There's also free, some of them cost money, but there's iOS apps. The Avid Control app does work with MCU once you're able to go through all the steps to get that set up for MCU, and that's totally free. So there's a lot of ways that once this is in the world for Luna that you can get your fingers on faders for Luna. It's going to be really fantastic.
It's great.
Seeing some questions from the chat asking about V Control. Is that MCU compatible one?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, that actually opens up a lot of interesting possibilities. We're not going to be able to get into fully testing all of the areas that V Control will allow to work, because there's some pretty incredible stuff that's happened in that app to revive legacy control surfaces from over the years. But that will certainly be interesting to get feedback on how that stuff works over time.
Can we have a spill, Connor?
Sorry, say again.
Can you have spill? Is there a spill assigned on the remote?
Spill is just not implemented yet, but we have some really great ideas on how we're going to do that, and it's absolutely going to be something that's available on an MCU surface. It's not going to be something that we restrict in any way. We're going to try to take this as far as we can in a reasonable amount of time to start getting really great surface support going on for Luna. There's no reason to hold back. In other words, we're not trying to prevent something from working really well for any reason. We want this to be a really great implementation that makes the most of the features that are there in Luna. So Spill is absolutely one of those things that we're actually soon to start working on that. It's just in the order of operations for something like this, where we had to do a ton of work just to get MIDI to talk to faders in a particular way. There's a whole litany of things that are very boring, but very important about just getting something like this working, where you start to see some of it come alive, and it's incredibly exciting. So Spill's up next, and there's a number of other obvious things. Like, I didn't get into panning on the surface. We can pan right now, but there's other things that you're going to want to do with these. They're called V-pots on the Mackie Control surface, that you want to be able to control plugins, be able to control other components in the mixer, and we're going to get to all that stuff.
Awesome. Dude, wow. I can just tell you, I'm watching the chat as he announced that, Connor. This is people are so stoked to see this coming to Luna here in 2021.
Awesome.
Nice.
Can we see a bigger shot of the surface?
Sure. Try to see here.
There was some questions about which one this is. This is the QCon icon. Correct?
Yeah, this is an icon. Let's see. I'm not, with this is sort of restricted to being on a phone camera and doesn't have the greatest resolution here. Let me see if I can pan this down somewhat here. Stand by. So this is just, it's a Icon Pro Audio, what's it called? QCon Pro G2. They have a line of surfaces. This is kind of like the middle range that has the scribble strips, but doesn't have, there's a larger fader bank model. Behringer, Presonus, Mackie, Native Instruments supports MCU. Yukon has an MCU mode. There's a lot of support for the MCU standard out there. It's decades old now, I think, and is pretty widely supported. And actually, as the more we dig into it, it's very powerful and can be very functional. But if you've used an MCU device with different DAWs over the years, it varies like all over the place. Like these always come with a grip of Lexan overlays that you put on top so that you know what the switches do, and it's just kind of an inevitability of some of the ways that these things are set up, and the labels that are on the surface might not apply in any way to what you see in a particular DAW. So we'll be in a similar situation for that stuff where you may
All right, kids.
All right, kids.
Here we go. All right.
That was it. Goodbye.
Right. No, wait. We're still here. We got our breakout room closed, and we're back in the green. We promised the green room view. This is what the green room looks like. As you can see,
hanging out.
Ezra's got the green back there.
Yeah, everybody, I have to leave, but love to you all, and have a
I gotta go. We gotta go too. Go back
Awesome.
to work.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, work to do. Thanks,
Get to
guys.
Yeah, we gotta work. We gotta work.
Thanks a lot.
Rock on. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
All right. Well, as you guys can see, Henry made it back. He did make it back in one piece from NAMM. Thank you, Henry. Was it a little? Were you getting a little lonely down in the show all by yourself?
Well, yeah. I got to be honest. I was a little surprised not to see any of you guys there. But it is what it is, I guess.
Nice. Well, Henry, we brought you in because it's your duty at every NAMM show to get up on stage and announce the daily giveaway winners. So we did one big giveaway for a set of all 3 pedals with power, with T-shirts. It's gonna be this really cool commemorative set. Obviously, people are going nuts signing up for it. This is one of our biggest giveaways ever. So we've randomly drawn 3 winners, and I'll let you take it away because this is what you're best at.
This is a big deal for those of you watching. Now, remind me. So I've got 3 winners here written down on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And do they each win the same thing?
Yes. Yep. All three get the same.
Well, I'll still count down from 3 and act as though number 1 is the most important. Coming in 3rd place, all the way from Los Angeles, California, not too far from us up here in the Bay Area, we have John Lindemood, entry number 8214. Congratulations, John.
Wow.
It's a big day for you. The applause is a little bit quieter than most years.
Well, luckily he doesn't have to find his way through the crowd. Well, don't worry, we'll find you. We'll email and get in contact with all you guys. So unlike NAMM, where we keep on drawing names until you come up and present yourself, this is slightly easier for all.
And Henry, if you want to feel at home, you could feel free to throw T-shirts from the studio into your kitchen, and that'll
I got T-shirts here. Here we go.
You throw one into your kitchen.
What do we got here? That's not even a UA shirt. They're in here somewhere. Oh, here we go.
If I can cut you off, it sounds like we've got some folks who need to bail. So I just want to give them that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Well, sorry about that. Yeah, I do have to run, but it's great to see everybody. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing
good to see you, John.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks so
John.
Good to see you, man.
Hi, everybody. See ya.
I'm just hoping to catch the bouquet from Henry here. I'm ready to
Here we
go,
go.
man.
I got the Authentic Sound of Analog shirt. This is a classic.
Yeah.
And okay, here we go. Coming in at number 2, 2nd place, silver medal, and a great prize. We got all the way from Wiley, Texas. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Corlin Carter, entry 21295.
Hey.
Congratulations, Corlin Carter. What a day it is for you. Okay, and last but certainly not least, this is the number 1 prize of the year. And it comes from Diablo, California. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. We got entry number 7550, Rhett Wheeler. Rhett Wheeler, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations.
Congrats, Brett.
All right, buddy.
Nice. It definitely has a different feeling doing a giveaway over Zoom, but we approximated. it was it was a good like 10% of what it is normally in real life.
You have to imagine the joy in the winner's eyes and the disappointment in everyone else's.
Absolutely.
Never seen a crowd disperse so quickly.
Yeah. Guys, well, man, guys, this has been what a fun show. What a fun couple of days here getting to launch and announce the UAFX pedals, being able to preview all these upcoming Luna features. Man, it's been fun seeing all you guys back here on air together, man. It's been far too long, and I know a bunch of people have been asking when our office hours starting back up. Should be starting back up in February. We'll be back on our regular Monday morning show, hanging out with you guys, answering questions, showing new features, highlighting how to do stuff, and then we've got some really cool plans to keep on developing the show throughout the year. Obviously, with having James and Tor joining us a bunch and being able to show off the pedals as those get closer and closer to launch, as well as some of our other artists, like some of the guests we had to come by today. And yeah, any parting words or anything that you guys on air that felt like we missed out on in today's show?
I just want to thank Lev and Connor and Monty and James and Tor for working so hard on all these great products that we all get to have fun and make music with. So that's all I'd have to say.
Oh man,
thank you.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I want to give kudos to Tor and James. They've been working tirelessly on this new line of products. It's a completely new platform, new technology, and they really push the bar, both from a hardware and a software and an algorithm perspective. So little nerdiness there, but I just think, these products sound really fantastic. They're
amazing. Huge
to the
praise.
promise that we're trying to deliver with every product. So yeah, just super proud of you guys.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we got a fun year ahead of us. We got lots of cool stuff on deck, and as Connor mentioned, we just kind of scratched the surface of some of the features that are planning to arrive this year. So we'll keep you guys on your toes throughout the year with new features and other exciting stuff coming out from UA. And so I guess with that, guys, thank you so much. Thank you everybody at home for tuning in, for hanging out, for all the
thank
all
you,
the
Ben.
love and joy.
Come on.
Oh, thank you,
thanks
guys.
to Ben. Yeah.
Round for Ben.
Yeah.
What a champ.
Appreciate it, guys.
right.
And
Bro.
man, I can't wait to get back in this exact same seat I've been sitting in for months, and having some more fun with you guys on office hours here in the future. So until then, everybody stay safe, have fun, make some music, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.